Hey YouTube, Joyboy here. So, today I want to discuss and argue for a very interesting Boku no Hero Academia theory. But as per usual, this is a manga theory, so if you're not fully caught up to the manga, the very latest chapter, I will be spoiling you. So now the spoiler warning is out of the way, let's begin. I think in order to best explain this theory, we must first explain Sir Nighteye. As you guys should know, in the very last chapter of Boku no Hero, Sir Nighteye died. But Sir Nighteye was a hero who could see into another's future. That was his quirk. But while many on the outside might have looked at his quirk as a kind of gift, something that should be used as often as possible, Sir Nighteye was not of the same perspective. And this is most likely because at several points in time over the course of his life, he saw people's futures and he saw their lives end tragically. And so while many people told him that it's alright, that if you see a tragic future, this is good, means that we can find a way to change it. And it's hinted that early on Sir Nighteye shared this very same perspective, but no matter what he tried to do, he could never change another person's future. He described it as additional scenes being added to the middle of a story, but the ending would always be the same. He began to believe that by looking into another person's future, whatever he saw there would lock that into existence. His prediction became prophecy. So he vowed to never use that ability. He would simply look 1 second into the future and respond accordingly. But as we know, and it was a huge plot point towards the end of the latest arc, that he was wrong. He looked into Overhaul's future and saw Overhaul killing Deku. But despite the future that he saw, which he deemed to be prophecy that could not be changed, Deku survived. Sir Nighteye learned from Deku that the future can indeed be changed. And so I think it can be presumed that after this point in time, over Sir Nightaye's final day, he contemplated as to why he couldn't change the future, and why Deku could. And he explained the conclusion that he reached in the last chapter. I'm reading the official translation from Viz.com, but Sir Nighteye says this: I could never clear my head of those thoughts. Can't change it. Nothing will change. That negativity was always in the back of my mind. But within thoughts is a sort of energy. I believe that now. Energy from striving for a certain future. When one doesn't allow for doubt, a vision that strong, energy from wishing. And so by putting together the pieces here, what Nighteye is saying is that the reason why Deku could change the future and why he couldn't is because Sir Nighteye always had doubts. The moment in which he saw somebody's tragic future, it created negative thoughts. Negative thoughts which created a negative energy. Negative thoughts which blurred his vision. Negative thoughts which created doubt. Deku changed the future because his resolve was unshakable. He refused to believe in any future in which everyone did not end up alright. Sir Nighteye was never capable of the same thing. And so what I'm about to say is said from the line of the speculation that I'm about to make in this video. But I do think that it's reasonable. I think that perhaps Sir Nighteye now believes positivity and optimism is the key to being able to change the future. And he may also believe that knowing of the future that he sees might create tendrils of doubt. Maybe somebody like Deku is strong enough to overcome them, but not everyone will be the same way. Sir Nighteye being one of those people. So this all leads me to this thought. I wonder if Sir Nighteye now believes that it would be better to just not tell someone of their future if something tragic occurs. Because in a world in which the only way in which you can change the future is through positivity, optimism, and a strong belief in what will occur, telling someone of their future would only create doubts. Doubts which would help not change this future. Doubts creating unnecessary negativity. And this all potentially adds up with something Sir Nighteye said after this whole discussion about energy. Sir Nighteye reveals that he has one regret, but he never tells us what this regret is. I have no doubt that this is in the story for a reason. It has some significance, but it's very curious that Horikoshi did not expound upon it. I wonder if Sir Nighteye's doubt is telling All Might that he was going to die in the first place. I think Sir Nighteye might believe that it's possible that his words might have created doubt and negativity within All Might, which will one day lead to the future that Sir Nighteye saw coming to pass. maybe it would have been better to lie. And this all leads into the speculation that I want to get into today. And I wouldn't be talking about it now if it weren't for user GGWP who commented in my last video and brought this to my attention. It's probably likely that I would have missed it if he hadn't pointed it out to me, because it requires you to completely ignore everything that is obvious in this last chapter and attempt to read between the lines. But the idea that he proposed to me was that when Sir Nighteye looked into Mirio's future in the very last chapter, rather than seeing good things happening as we are told, rather he saw the exact opposite. He saw a tragic future for Mirio, but just didn't say it. And so I think the reason that he noticed this was because of an interesting translation from MangaStream in the last chapter. But after looking into it and reading the official translation, it's most probably a mistranslation. At least partly. Very subtly. The moment in which Sir Nighteye touches Mirio and looks into his future, he says, "Mirio, you are ... And then in the following panel where we can see Mirio crying, he says, ... it'll be alright. You are becoming an outstanding hero." These two panels do not go together. The first one has a very ominous and dramatic feel to it. Even looking at Sir Nightaye's face, he seems as though he's concerned. There's pressure lines going down on him. But in the second panel, everything seems to be alright. There's nothing to be concerned about. Your future is as bright as it has always been. Couple that with the fact that the translation leads to the impression that the two lines are completely separate in the first place, because they literally, they seem as though they are two separate thoughts. This creates for a legitimate argument that what Sir Nighteye saw was in fact something bad. He just chose not to say it. But fortunately or unfortunately, the official translation kind of cured this problem so that the two lines do in fact add up. The official reads as Sir Nighteye thinking, "Mirio, you'll be okay. You'll be as fine a hero as any." But despite the fact that this translation has fixed some of the problem, I still think that this first panel is really ominous. Why did Horikoshi decide to split up these two panels? Why is this first panel so dramatic? Why does Sir Nighteye look so concerned? As counterintuitive as it may seem, the way that I rationalize this is that despite everything that Sir Nighteye said after this point in time, the future that Sir Nighteye saw for Mirio was in fact tragic. But then many of you will be asking, well, why didn't he think any of this? Why didn't he say any of this? And I feel as though I've given a pretty good explanation leading up into this reveal. If Sir Nightaye's only regret was telling All Might of his tragic future, and if positivity and optimism creates energy which allows someone to change the future, wouldn't you want to create that? Wouldn't you want to give Mirio a chance? Wouldn't you want to give him a strong belief that his future doesn't need to be changed? That he will always come out on top? I even think that Sir Nighteye emphasized it towards the end of this chapter. So keep smiling. A world without smiles and humor has no bright future. This is Sir Nighteye almost literally saying that if you hope to change the future, if you hope for a brighter future, then you have to smile. Anything that detracts from your smile would only cause harm. And something that may potentially detract from Mirio's smile is the knowledge that one day he will die tragically. I think this is justification enough for why Sir Nighteye might have seen a tragic future for Mirio, but just decided not to say it. And as a last bit of potential evidence, this is another difference between the official translation and the translation from MangaStream, is that Sir Nighteye did not say that Mirio's future shouldn't be changed. What Sir Nighteye actually said is the aspect of him smiling is the one part of the future that mustn't be changed. So there may be other parts that should be. But anyway guys, as counterintuitive as this might seem, I really feel like that there's a lot to potentially justify this theory. I really felt as though it was worth sharing, and I want to say that this is what I actually believe. And guys, if you do actually believe this, you should be very concerned. Because the way that a story works is that, like for instance, when Nighteye sees All Might's future, sees Deku's future, and this becomes obvious to us, the plot can sort of revolve around changing it. But in the idea that Horikoshi has laid these clues very subtly, and since Sir Nighteye has now died, the future that he saw died with him, no character will ever see this come to pass. No character will ever learn of its existence. So if Sir Nighteye saw something tragic occur, this defining moment for Mirio, we as readers will never know. And if Mirio ends up overcoming this fate, again, we would never know. So there is absolutely no point in putting this detail in the story if Mirio is able to overcome it. This as a theory would only exist to foreshadow impending doom for Mirio. Something that we could look back on and read and think to ourselves, damn, Horikoshi is a genius. He told us all the way back in here. What an amazing set of clues. Because undoubtedly what will occur if something bad happens to Mirio is people will look back and they'll read out Sir Nightaye's words and think to themselves how these words don't add up with what occurred. You look into it more and you potentially find the clues that you need to realize that Sir Nighteye may not have been telling the truth. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I had to say today. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree and why. Just share your thoughts. Like the video if you like the video. Dislike the video if you dislike the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.